Let's go. You lead the way. Where are we headed? Towards a net zero future, of course. Cleaner water, more electricity, a sustainable society. That's the destination we've set ourselves. This we know. Yes, we know exactly where we're going, but we need to get there quicker. So, let's build on the progress we've already made by working and walking together. With the right partners, tools and ideas, we'll become an unstoppable force. This we know. Right now, there are businesses who are putting technology and sustainability at the heart of everything they do. Brave leaders turning maybes into realities and building something better for everyone. Now is the time to look to the future and reinvent ourselves today, empowering others to do the same tomorrow. Yes, we know what the future holds, and we know how to get there. So, let's take charge of the journey today.
Welcome to our school board meeting.
Namaskar.
Hello.
Hi.
Spiffio, access in any language.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vikas Pota. I'm the founder and CEO of T4. It's a delight to be with you here today on a Saturday. I know there's many of you that are watching, and it's a really important week for us that's coming up with World Education Week and all the 50 schools of the world's best school prizes, each hosting an event to showcase and actually exchange views and practices that they have developed in their schools with this collective ambition of how we make schools stronger. There's a lot of literature in the world today about school improvement. And what we've done is applied a prize mechanism to surface all these best practices so that schools the world over can actually improve. Now, what better than actually listening and hearing from your peers? And that is the entire purpose of organizing this behemoth event that we have taking place next week, the Festival of Education in its own right. But as you know, as we've gone through the process of the World's Best Schools Prizes, we've had a shortlisting that's taken us to that's shown us 50 schools, so 10 in each category, the top 10 for each category, that we've now shortened to a 3. And on Wednesday, you will know that we have our ceremony for the inaugural World's Best School Prizes. The ceremony will select one winner for each category, and each school will receive $50,000 from us. As a way of actually helping them extend their practice and develop on it as a way of actually contributing to the betterment of our world. Now, friends, when we looked at the World's Best School Prizes, it's been so heartwarming that so many of you have commented upon the videos that we've had made, the films that we've had made for the top 3 for each category. And what I wanted to do today in our plenary, a special plenary for all of you that are watching and interacting with us, is I wanted to actually go through with some experts out there to actually go through the 3 schools so that we can watch the videos together and actually decipher and have an expert come and tell us, well, what is it that we can learn from these 3 schools? Because sometimes the films are subtle, the practice is fantastic, and I just want to draw some of these lessons. So without further ado, what I do want to do is go straight into it, because we have a special guest here with us all the way from New York who's going to be joining us, and that is Rob Jenkins. But before I bring him on, I want to show the 3 videos of the Overcoming Adversity category. Here they are.
The war affected the children so much in northern Uganda. This school is changing lives in this community, not only for the children, but also to their parents. They were carrying out a lot of atrocities, burning the schools, abducting young children and taking them to the bush, majority of whom they became child soldiers.
I was abducted from our home. 3 brothers of mine, they were killed.
Most of the girls, they were being mistreated, taken like the wives to those soldiers.
So when we saw the suffering that people of northern Uganda were going through, we thought of opening a school in this place in 2009.
There are so many vulnerable children, and I said, for me, I want to become a teacher.
So our students are very talented. We are really encouraging them to achieve through whatever talents they have.
I found a lot of things in the school, like the sports, most excitedly, the computer training.
I also learned how to dance and sing.
But we also saw that there were students falling sick. So we opened the on-site clinic at the school. We also started providing additional nutrition to our students. Our teachers started moving door to door, and they could teach children in a small group.
Syllable what? Ma. And then this is sound.
Many children from other schools were not being taught, but our children has greatly improved because of our home-based learning.
This community is so resilient. When there are problems, we come together, we discuss the way forward, and we find solutions.
The experience that the children have in the school of diversity, difference, and overcoming adversity is something that they take with them into the communities that they're part of after being here.
In 1994, the whole of South Africa changed. In 1997, I became a principal for the first time. And at that point, all the teaching staff were white. And so we in Pinelands started to change the inside of the school.
we understand special needs differently in the way that everybody has special rights to learn, special rights to have access to learning, and we need to facilitate that space for them. So at the school, there are many children who come from different walks of life. One of the things that we make sure that we do as a staff and as a school community is to be open to understanding that diversity is ever-changing.
I think our first transgender child must be about 20 years old now. We trained all our staff before she arrived because we wanted her to feel as safe as everybody else at the school.
I am a girl, but I was a boy, but I came out as trans. Pinelands North Primary School is more gender fluid than my old school because girls don't have an advantage with anything and boys don't have an advantage with anything. I feel quite free. Instead of trapped inside a boy's body, but I feel like I'm a girl inside.
People should understand that we're moving on in society and that the more in time we get, the more people are going to realize that there are many ways to express themselves as who they are, and we should try to understand and accept that so people can feel more comfortable in life.
I think it's really important to celebrate the fact that Pinelands North has broken the standard definition of diversity. I think in this country in particular, we've had a journey where diversity has needed us to embrace aspects of racial difference. But I think we've realized that diversity includes gender, language, culture, and beyond that.
O projeto ele veio para mudar realmente a comunidade. Os pais estudam e mostram aos filhos a importância do estudo, educar-se pelo exemplo. Pessoas que não têm formação acadêmica, elas acabam não tendo oportunidade de emprego. Então elas vivem situação de baixa renda, precisando fazer trabalhos informais para o sustento familiar.
Tem várias mulheres, né, que deixam de estudar para trabalhar, né, na agricultura. Se o estudante ele vem para a escola, mas ele não se sente pertencente à escola, ou ele não se preocupa com o processo educativo, a gente foi chamar a família para saber. E a gente percebeu que as mães não sabiam ler, e aí elas têm essa dificuldade para conseguir ajudar os filhos a estudarem. A ideia é alfabetizar essas mães para que elas consigam acompanhar o processo estudantil dos filhos, para conseguir, né, ingressar no mercado formal. As mães vêm à escola 2 vezes por semana.
O curso é mais para motivá-las, né, ver qual o desejo que cada uma tem, né, seja do mais simples ao mais alto que elas puderem sonhar.
Um sonho que eu quero realizar é estudar, aprender a ler e escrever e também ensinar meu filho, porque não tive estudo. Eu só trabalhava de roça e não tinha estudo.
Eu nem sonhava mais em nada, desmotivada, entendeu? E aqui a gente volta, né?
Eu acho muito importante esse projeto para estabelecer, né, o estudo de novo para essas mães, porque também com os estudos, né, elas podem ter mais oportunidade na vida, né? temos a mãe que já foi alfabetizada desde quando começou o projeto, mãe que conseguiu um emprego formal. Então, isso mudou também essa realidade, esse olhar para ela mesma. Que eu posso fazer a diferença, de que minha vida foi difícil até aqui, mas ela não precisa continuar difícil, porque eu consigo mudar e a educação é o caminho. Os estudantes, eles sentem as mães mais perto, eles comentam que chega em casa, a mãe se preocupa, pergunta como foi a aula e os estudantes ficam felizes. Não, minha mãe está no projeto, minha mãe está na escola.
Agora eu já sei escrever meu nome e outras coisas que eu não sabia, aprendendo aqui. E vou aprender mais.
So, Rob, we're here today. Welcome to the Plenary for World Education Week. And, one of the things that I often think about is, who are the experts? What is it that we can learn? And the entire purpose behind how we've approached this is to treat schools and teachers as the experts. And so when you see these three films about overcoming adversity and how schools have approached it, what are the lessons you take away?
Well, because I think I'd start exactly saying what you've just said, which is it's the teachers and students themselves that are truly the experts. And so it was great to see. Very exciting to see those three examples. I must admit, it was very reassuring. I think each of the examples offers a lot. I think the what's common is a holistic, I should say, approach to education, link from strengthening link between parents and students and teachers. I think looking at diversity and individual meeting the individual needs of children, looking at psychosocial mental health and other needs of children. Also, I take away great leadership and the importance of leadership of teachers, of students themselves, of principals, of school managers. I guess the thing I would, from a global perspective, working at UNICEF here in New York, I think the data is absolutely clear, Vikas, that the impact of school closures due to the pandemic around the world has been so profound. It's exactly examples like this that are going to sort of, I think, show the way, if you like, or definitely give some great and inspiring lessons and be catalysts to inspire others to take this work forward at this incredibly challenging time.
And so when you just, during the UN General Assembly, you hosted the Transforming Education Summit. And, this is our contribution towards transforming education, which is the stories from the ground up, as it were. This is what happens in schools around the world. What encouragement would you give to schools at this moment in time? Because, I said, the reason I ask you is there's a lot of narrative about, learning loss, and that kind of thing, that actually, what encouragement can you give to our school leaders and our teachers around the world as to how we should be approaching this and the confidence they need to take from all the stuff that we see today?
Well, it's a great question, Vikas. And again, I think the most encouragement schools can receive is looking at other schools and learning from each other. And that's, I think, and I take great inspiration from when I visit schools, and I do get the opportunity to visit schools in many different contexts. And again, I just find it so in very challenging environments, I find it so incredibly inspiring to interact with children, see their resilience and their demand for continuing their learning, but also interacting with teachers and principals and see their resilience and their leadership and their levels of commitment. Bottom line is the Transforming Education Summit, I truly feel, was a once in a potentially generation opportunity that we saw with a spotlight on education. There were more than 60 heads of state. There were over 100 ministers of education, lots of CEOs of companies, kind of a real sort of collection of global decision makers. And one of the main takeaways was a recognition of the importance that schools play in communities, the importance that teachers play in each of our child's lives. I think that was reconfirmed, not like it needed reconfirmation, but it indeed was a very real confirmation during the pandemic when schools were closed. I think many parents once again, kind of you realize something when you don't have it, even more so. You're like, this was so it was an opportunity for the world community to recommit to, I would say, a couple things, because one is urgently provide the support that's needed to each and every school so that it can enable children to recover from this very challenging time, learning recovery, catch-up programs, provide more comprehensive support to children, nutrition, mental health, etc. So there was an urgency and a commitment to urgently act. And then second was because there was a recognition of the need for transformation. And I see in those three examples some great examples of transformation, meaning I don't think many of us or any of us want to reopen schools and have kids come back into schools that were like pre-pandemic, because we recognize that the world was experiencing a global learning crisis. Not all children were having their needs met before the pandemic. So it's time to also transform education along the lines of these three amazing schools. And so I took away a sense of commitment, a sense of solidarity. Now the challenge is translating that into actually action on the ground. And these three schools are, of course, showing the way for that.
And so, Rob, I know that you'll think I'm being unfair, but who's for the win out of these three schools?
I honestly, sincerely, because I'm going to refuse to answer that, because that's your tough job in the committee, etc. I think each had some amazing sort of jewels and then rough, if you like, and just incredible examples that could be picked up and taken. And maybe in the end, that's where we'll all end up, which is taking best practices from different schools, from different classrooms, potentially even from different children, and we adopt those everywhere. So I'm going to pass on that question.
And so my final question, actually, Rob, is around I get a lot of people who say to me, it's great to see these great stories from schools around the world, but how is it that you can apply scale to these, right? So the prizes have surfaced all these great stories. As a mechanism, it's done a great job. But now what happens in terms of to make sure that these practices are all over the world and are available? So we are contributing towards that in different ways. But what is your comment on how we scale best practice?
Absolutely critical. And at UNICEF, that's where we aspire to be in that space right there, is taking best practices to scale, working with governments and taking things to scale. So I think at the risk of oversimplification, there's two ways to do this, or two keys, sort of the secret sauce to scale. One is it often necessitates or benefits from a movement, meaning a very wide tent, all focused on a common goal and mobilizing children and youth themselves, parents, communities, and all aligned around, let's say, a high-performing, inclusive school. And we know what that vision is, and there is a movement element to it. Great thing about social media, too, and technology is that can help in such a movement. I think it creates bottom-up demand. It promotes, it crowds in other resources. It brings best and brightest to the table, etc. So a movement. Second, there's an element of accountability here, meaning throughout a system, again, being clear on targets, being clear on results, and then measuring those, and linking that measurement to providing the support at the various levels to achieve that result. So if we're looking for inclusive schools that have high achievement in terms of learning outcomes, measure that inclusivity, measure those learning outcomes, and based on that measurement and that data, as real time as possible, provide the support at the various levels so that people can realize their respective accountability. So to take things to scale, go to a country and go, wow, how did you transform your education system? There was movements involved, and there was a systemic sort of accountability and support mechanisms inbuilt. Those would be my 2 points to offer.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Rob, for joining us today. I know that you have to get going. I appreciate you joining us on a Saturday. We bid you farewell.
Thanks, Vikas, and wish you all the best for the next week. I'll be following it very closely and look forward to staying in touch. And good luck to everybody, and amazing examples. Thanks for following me.
Thanks a lot, Rob. I appreciate it. So friends, we've come to that point today where we have something really special to announce and share with you. You heard Rob Jenkins speak about, scalability and and the importance of actually scaling best practices in schools around the world, one of the things that I have learned in my career and the way that I've approached education transformation is, I think Rob is right in that we need to assemble a movement, a collection, a collective, an alliance of people who are pointing in the same direction and making a push. And one part of that push is around actually not just seeing teachers and schools as experts, but also focusing upon teachers and schools solving and collaborating and solving the big challenges for themselves and by themselves because they are the experts. And so for that, I'm really pleased today to make a huge announcement about T4 and what we're doing by way of sharing with you that we have an important launch that we want to put your way. And so this is an incredible offer that we are putting out there in the world today as a gesture of our goodwill, but also as a commitment to our commitment to actually raise education outcomes by way of making peer-to-peer approaches the central platform for T4. Now, these peer-to-peer approaches are rooted in today's world with technology. And I want to make sure that I show you this really exciting video that we've had as a way of launching this new strategy for us. So I hope you enjoy watching this, and I'll come back and tell you more. I want to congratulate my team for actually all the hard yards that have been put in into making this go live. Friends, here we are. I'm so excited that we have the T4 app now formally out there and launched. You know, the idea is really simple. The idea is that by building community using these kinds of technological products, what we can do is we can collaborate, we can share, we can learn, we can be inspired, and the technology now allows us to do so. What I've been very clear about is, and I found especially over the last 3 years, you know, why are people showing up to all of our things? So far, almost 350,000 teachers from around the world have engaged with us. And the reason is because I believe, and at least when I speak to friends, they believe that it's important to be rooted in community. And what that means is peer-to-peer. And so what this app does is allow us an opportunity to collaborate, to share, to learn, and to benefit from inspiring ideas from the global teacher community. And you can download on the iOS and the Android store at T4 Communities. And like I said, it's great professional development for teachers and schools, and you can download now. And so I can't say it more passionately that I hope all of you join us. It's for free. It's for teachers all over the world to come together. Please join us now. Now, if teachers and schools are the experts, I am so delighted today to bring in front of you a friend of mine who we've already gone to New York on my left. Now we go all the way to Australia. And so I'm so delighted to bring Shanti Clements, who's the principal of a school in Australia. Shanti, what do you have to say about T4 Communities?
I'm so excited. The app looks absolutely amazing. What a wonderful innovation, and it's exactly what we need to give power to the voice of educators and to bring us together as a community. I can't wait. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And what I want to put in front of everyone is that if you join before our welcome party, we're having a welcome party on the 29th actually. If you join now, you get exclusive benefits and offers But more than anything else, you get called a founder member of T4 Communities. So please go now to t4communities.education, and you can either go on a website or you can go to the iOS store, the Android store, and download the app. Please join us because you will be a founder member of T4 Communities. Now, Shanti, you yourself are a prolific school principal at the Seven Hills West public school in Australia. When you see the world's best school prizes, what comes to your mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's absolutely wonderful to have the opportunity for schools and educators to showcase their schools, to show the world the wonderful projects that they're working on and the great impact that they're having with their communities. Sometimes we often just look at individuals, but the world's best school prizes is actually about the power of the collective working together and how that has influence and how it drives change. And it's so exciting to see all the schools and we know how much hard work has been put into these projects. So it's a real honor. And, I feel incredibly privileged to be able to see what the schools have been doing. So thank you.
And do you think, Shanti, you're a school principal in Australia, and I keep on laboring the point, but out of the schools that, I've asked you to comment about today, and we'll come to that at the end, but as a general rule, do you think you can benefit in Australia from learning some of these lessons?
Oh, absolutely. What we're seeing is best practice. We're seeing practice that has had impact. And that's the power of watching these videos. We can see how a school has actually developed a solution to an important problem that was actually facing their community. So watching these videos has actually not only provided evidence-based research for us, but it's also driving expertise, it's uplifting what the profession can actually accomplish. So for me, it's been absolutely wonderful. And it actually feels like we're bringing people together. It doesn't feel that people are far away. We all have very similar problems. So the connection and actually seeing the solutions that each school comes up with, it's actually quite exciting to see.
So what I'd like all our viewers and those that are participating today from the community to do is actually, when in the comments, tell us, out of the 3 schools that you see, comment on them. What are the lessons that you take from it? Rather than just, to say, hi, I'm from Egypt or from Kuwait or from Australia or from the Philippines. Tell us, what are the lessons that you're learning by watching these? Because I think those are quite salient, and that's what the prizes have been set up for. But what I should do, and I haven't done yet because our previous guest was in a little bit of a rush, to actually show you who's joined us today. So I'm really pleased today. For example, Heather is joining us from, Itaram is joining us from Kuwait. Reham Kamal is from Oman. Then we have Alejandra, who's in Argentina, country ambassador. Welcome to the Plenary of the World Education Week. Thank you so much for your service, Alejandra. You have Rahul as well. Greetings from India. Hi. Shanti, you have some Indian heritage, right?
I do.
A name like that, I'd imagine. Then hi, Bria from Pakistan. Hi, you're always here. Thank you so much for supporting this. All the way from Syria. We can't see your name, so you need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give permission for us to see your name. Namaste Kalyani from India, a country ambassador. We have someone from Moldova. We have Carl, who's a country ambassador in the Philippines. Welcome. Victoria from North Macedonia. Welcome. Danny watching from Ghana. Fantastic. Melinda. Melinda belongs to a school in Chicago who is in the top 3, the Curie Metropolitan High School. Welcome. I know it must be early for you. Antonio Briones from Chile. Now, of course, Chile is also a finalist in the prizes. And hi, Antonio, lovely to see you. You had a great video. We'll come to it in a second. Branka says hi from Serbia. And so on and on it goes. And I will come back to all of these comments. Now, when it comes to the prizes, we've looked at the overcoming adversity category. What we now want to do is look at the environmental action category. And the reason we've chosen environmental action is I don't think there's a bigger meta theme in the world today than actually the empowerment of our young people, and especially to take climate action. So here are 3 incredible examples. So let's watch the video.
It's very important at our school to find a way to bridge the gap between our mission to make the world a better, kinder place and our vision to turn that learning into action. The students at IZL are from Switzerland and also 66 countries around the world. They speak about 47 languages, so there's a real nice diverse representation of the world's population here. We're surrounded by farms and forests and animals, and so there's a real nice connection with nature and a reminder that we are part of a bigger system.
The school is extremely supportive. Everyone from the board and the leadership downwards all share this sustainability-oriented perspective. We really get prioritised in the school, and I feel this really helps us push our initiatives through.
The environmental goals of the school are driven by two guiding principles, one around zero carbon and the second one around zero waste.
The idea behind the Zero Carbon Initiative is to get our school to a net zero carbon emissions by 2027. We have our carbon credits program where students and community members can buy carbon credits to offset their emissions. The PDWs, which we go on trips, such as to the Himalayas, electrifying villages and planting trees in Iceland. We're looking at electrifying the bus fleet, adding solar panels, implementing this kind of sustainable mindset.
The students did some research and we found a machine that heats food up and has a bacterial engine in there that composts food over the course of a week. And so at the moment we are trying to target all food waste from the school, get to 100% hopefully by the end of this school year, and then that compost is used in our gardening project to grow food that goes back in the school.
A fishing village like Crocobita is unable to sustain their lifestyle because fishing is no longer an option for them. There's no fish in the sea. And really what our students were going there to do was to help them find a solution. And they came up with the idea of aquaponics.
Aquaponics is fish farming integrated with plants, and it's a closed loop system. Very, very efficient. It uses a tiny percentage of the water you would use in a regular farming system and is more productive.
We couldn't just go to Ghana, build it, and make it work because it's such a complicated thing. So they decided to build a laboratory here on our local campus. Aquaponics as an individual project has massive potential. The benefits range from very small, allowing a local community to grow their own food, to huge, allowing much of West Africa to produce food and create livelihoods out of aquaponics.
Students in this generation are very, very aware of the challenges that their generation faces, and I think the antidote to anxiety is action.
At the end of the day, if you do your part, you're able to motivate others to take their part as well.
These projects are really bringing us together through sustainability, working towards the same goal and getting this mindset of kind of reciprocity to the environment. And I think that has a huge impact on our community.
I think schools need to be the places that solve the current environmental challenges that we are facing right now. I actually think that sustainability schools can make sustainable communities. Environmental action at Green School Bali isn't a standalone initiative. It's not one really cool project that we're doing, but it's embedded in everything that we're doing. You come to be a part of a community that together is making the world sustainable. Our curriculum is self-designed, internationally benchmarked, so that students here still learn the same types of knowledge and information that they would at another normal standard school. But we've been given an opportunity at Green School Bali to create a whole new model of educating for sustainability where students all do something positive with their learning for the environment.
The environmental action that we do at Green School always starts with
an environmental problem or maybe even a social problem. How can this problem become a solution? And that's really the mindset that we want to instill in ourselves and in our students. There was a student and a teacher who learned about the carcinogenic impact that used cooking oil has. But we also had a problem at school. And the problem at school was we had too many cars coming on campus. And so they came up with a solution, and it was that we would collect used cooking oil from around Bali, and that we would turn that into biofuel, and we would create a bus system to transport our students. From that, the students learned chemistry, they learned design, they learned mathematics, they learned marketing.
We have a project centre at the school. Students can apply for a loan or a grant. The students weren't happy with the environment that our chickens were in, and so they applied for a loan and rebuilt the chicken area, started selling the eggs and then paid back the loan. Students solved an environmental, nature-based animal problem through their learning program.
It's really important for us students to learn these things from the young age so that we can start taking action.
Green School is creating these activists, these change makers that are really going out there and doing what needs to be done in the world. Something that is truly impactful.
The success of Green School, in my view, has to do with our children feeling engaged in the world in an active way. We work really hard to find a way to show children how much they matter and how much power and influence they can have as an individual person, but in a really thoughtful, gentle, constructive way.
I can see traditional education changing in terms of educating about sustainability. The world needs an education revolution, and Green School Bali is definitely a part of that education revolution.
We are integrating in the child the value of trying to understand the climate change that is happening right now, and for them to be part of the solution. The typhoon in 2009 gave us a blow where the city was submerged in so much flooding. And many of our students' shanties and nipa huts were torn down.
Most of our students living in the community, their livelihood was devastated.
Most of their parents are relying on fishing and trying to manage some of the fish ponds. Of course, we felt we really have to do something for our kids. The very first thing that we did was to meet the entire team, the head teachers, all of them. And so different ideas came in, and they said, "Ma'am, as we go on and embark into mangrove planting, we will also integrate in our own specific learning areas how important the activity is." It is not only a project for the reason that we want something for our school to boast or something. It has to be connected with the students, with their studies, with their way of life.
The Bakawan Mangrove Planting Project is not all about planting mangroves, but also it covers coastal cleanup.
Pagkuha nila ng mga isda, mga talaba, mga ganun po, ma'am. Kasi ang gandang proyekto nitong Team Bakawan namin eh. Kasi para sa amin, para sa akin.
There are so many impacts already. I told the principals that, you know, you can also do this in your own schools. So what we did was really to share it to everyone. And so many hopped in already.
Sa loob ng 12 taon, kaya ginagawa ng paaralan ang mangrove planting dahil sa pagmamahal namin sa kalikasan. Bagamat napakaliit na hakbang, pero may mas malawak na tinitignan para sa
We cannot prepare the future for our learners, but we can prepare them for the future. We want them to realize that what they're doing right now will also be benefiting the next generation after them.
So we have some really great comments that have come in. So for example, Melinda from Chicago again says the lessons that she learned were about project-based learning, integrate student supports, expanding learning time and opportunities, C, create community engagement, D, build collaborative leadership and practice. Shanti, what do you have to say about the 3 schools? If you could take them one by one, if you can, and give us feedback as to, as a school leader, what is it that you can learn from each one of these? So let's start with the one in Switzerland, the International School of Zug and Luzern.
Okay. Thank you, Vikas. For me, that school showed the power of mission and vision to create change in the world. And they did it by establishing very concrete, actionable goals that actually united the school community. For me, it showed us that audacious, ambitious action can actually be achieved by students, and the power of that guiding coalition and how they were underpinned by those 2 guiding principles of zero carbon and zero waste led to a whole chain of events where they took the learning beyond their school to then have impact in Ghana and to actually help establish practices that would enable aquaponics and things like that to support the communities in West Africa with new environmental approaches. So not only did they actually upskill the students, but they took that knowledge out into a different country that they weren't even in.
So from that school, what is the one practice you can implement in your school?
The one thing that we could implement would be to actually establish environmental goals where the principals are consulted with the students, with the community, and they come up with an action plan so that there's a level of accountability in delivering those goals.
All right, tell me about the second school, which is the Green School of Bali.
Yeah. Green School of Bali, I just love the fact that they came up with a new model of education that was integrated. It was based on environmental sustainability and nature-based learning. For me, the way that they brought the curriculum into the school, beyond into the community, where they were able to do problem solving, not just of one particular problem, but to integrate solutions across multiple issues, taught me so much. And I would love to see the students at my school, the SRC, to look at environmental problem solving, to think bigger than what they just see at the school level, to have greater impact across the whole school community. I love the fact that, they brought 2 projects such as cooking oil and too many cars, and they brought a fantastic project which then led to a bus system that could transport the students. I also like the fact that the students learn chemistry, design thinking, mathematics, marketing through the problem solving that they achieve together. So I guess from that school, I learned the importance about developing environmental initiatives that integrate with a range of issues that the children can problem solve.
So there's a lady here, I think it's a gentleman called Sava, I assume somewhere in the Balkans, I imagine. I could maybe be wrong, I apologize for that. It says school tailored by the need of children. I know it's an obvious thing to say about schools, but what do you have to say about that comment?
I think it's a school that's tailored not only by the needs of the students, but also the students' perceptions of environmental sustainability. And the way that they've created that new model, they talk about revolutionizing education. It is a model of innovation where sustainability is authentic. It's not just STEM, it's not just problem solving. It is bottom up, and it's also distributed across the whole school. And that's the reason why it actually has impact. The children have a higher moral purpose at Green School in Bali, and that moral purpose energizes the school.
And tell us about the last school, the Bonuan Bukit School in Philippines.
To me, the lesson from that school is that they've brought education into a higher sphere where community and students come together to create a better future. The fact that they were able to transform the issue of climate change, where the 2009
that then was an action
typhoon, where the
Right,
2009 that's okay, where the 2009 typhoon devastated the community. It destroyed their livelihood. It got rid of the waterways. 12 years of a very solid campaign has now resulted in clean waterways, the fish returning, and future livelihoods for the community. To me, it's a story of healing and connecting community after environmental trauma. There's a real moral purpose and a future focus that comes from that project.
No, you're absolutely correct. And all three schools actually in this category were so strong actually that in the voting, I won't say anymore, but on Wednesday, it really did cause issues for our judges. You know, I know you're not a judge of the school prizes. Who's for the win for you?
It's really hard. It's very hard.
I let Rob get away with it, but I'm asking you as a school principal, out of these three schools, from your perspective, who is it that you can benefit the most from?
I'm going to come back to your criteria. And the criteria is, acting in a way that ensures future generations have the natural resources available to live an equal, if not better life as current generations. If I'm looking at the future legacy of these projects, I'm really torn between Bunuan Bukwik School in Philippines, as well as the International School of Zug and Luzerne in Switzerland, because both of them have supported communities in healing, in developing a livelihood, and teaching them strategies to cope with climate change. So it's torn between those two for me. But as a model of education that can revolutionize the way that we teach, the way that we have student voice and agency, the Green School in Bali is up there too.
You're such a politician, man. I tell you, I expected you to be very decisive, but you're given a good steer. Thank you so much. And so it's really important for us to also say that this is not just about these three schools. It's about all schools, right? And so what we can take differs in every context as well. Let's not ignore that elephant in the room, as it were. But also in the prizes, we have 50 schools. We don't just have 3 per category. And all 50, we found some extraordinary practice. Now, what we're going to do is on the 29th itself, as an exclusive offer to founding members of our T4 Communities app, we are launching the first 5 toolkits for the winning schools for that day. And the idea is that every single school will have a toolkit that we can learn from, which is a case study. And during this next week, you can actually show up to their event, ask them lots of questions, and learn for yourself, which I think is a really powerful thing. But all of our activity is going to be driven on, as I've said in the past hour, I should say, through our app, which is called T4 Communities, and which you can download now. Shanti, you've been very kind to stay, and actually let's do the other category now, and also get your comments on that, because I really enjoyed hearing from you. So without further ado, please enjoy these 3 films of 3 incredible schools who are in the Supporting Healthy Lives category, that then we'll ask Shanti to actually comment upon. Here they are.
The arts support healthy lives, working the whole child to contextualize ideas, to be part of a community, and the creativity that enables them to go on and be successful in whatever they choose.
Curie is the third largest school in Chicago. We serve a minority population. We're about 88% Latino, 13% African American. For our students who are coming from working class neighborhoods, there's a lot of issues that come with living in the city. Some of them might be facing high crime or high poverty areas. Last year we had 5 students shot, and as we went into summer, unfortunately we had a student pass away from that gun violence. We have a lot of support systems here at Curie. Our discipline team believes in restorative justice, so part of that is supporting students and talking to them about how they can improve instead of punishing them. The behavioral health team is composed of counselors, teachers, social workers. Through that team, we're able to provide them with social emotional supports as well as mental health supports as needed. The job of a school is to make sure that they're fully supported beyond academic, and that's where the arts and other programs that we have at the school come in.
Plie, full turn, yeah.
Health and wellness through the arts enables every single person to deal with their daily situations, no matter what they are. They learn to succeed. They learn that they're part of a community. They learn that they have an important voice. We have a lot of arts programs, and that's to address every single child that comes through the door.
My piano keys are called naturals.
The music department here is amazing. We partner with different organizations. The students get to perform in and out of the school. The visual arts department is open up to all students here at Curie. Their work has been celebrated around the world.
Run, Plie, jump, yeah.
The dance department puts on a lot of theater projects as well. To see my students succeed, being on their stages worldwide, there's nothing like it. It's the best.
This program allows me to be healthy in a lot of different ways and allows me to be active every day.
Whenever I like to deal with my stress or my sadness, I cope with it by dancing.
It felt amazing to have something help me get rid of all that pain and build up that I was holding inside. And I was free to let go and start a new me.
The arts give me a purpose in life by showing me what I can do instead of killing yourself with drugs, gangs, gun violence. You're here for a reason.
Our job is not just to educate students. Our job is to make sure that they are the best human possible, support their mental health, physical health, making sure that they're supported in their creativity.
Schools should support healthy lives because young people are not simply an assemblage of grades. They're people. They're people who will go on to shape not only their own future, but the future of society and of the world at large. London Academy of Excellence is based in Stratford, in the heart of London's East End. We are in a highly diverse part of London. The vast majority of our students will come from families with no history of participation in higher education, universities or otherwise. We're very conscious that we have a community of young people with very high aspirations. And young people like that can often impose slightly too much pressure on themselves.
So our wellbeing strategy is, first of all, a deep dive into what the research tells us about the development of children at that age. The second stage was then thinking about what that means in terms of this school. So we asked our current students, our staff, parents and carers what they thought about it. And arising out of that then was an action plan.
In the school, we have the Mental Health Network, and that's raising awareness about what mental health is and what issues the students are facing. For example, at times when you are studying, you can perhaps face burnout, but they wouldn't know the signs of burnout. At the same time, it also ensures that students are leaving some time out and focusing on their mental health and improving their well-being.
One thing I learned with my mental health network was, although I was doing this extra thing that was taking up more time, I feel like my grades improved because I was more focused when I was studying.
We train them on what mental health means, what the current trends and research are in terms of adolescent mental health. They create a proposal of 3 different things that they think would most benefit the students as a response to what they have found out. So our wellbeing ambassadors, our mental health network has spaces where they were sharing to other schools how they could also be empowering students to be mental health leads within their schools as well.
Since we've introduced the mental wellbeing strategy, rates of depression have fallen substantially, rates of reported anxiety have fallen substantially, while results have continued to rise. And in a sense, most importantly, young people's estimation of their own wellbeing has gone up significantly over the time that we've been implementing.
Knowing more about mental health has really enabled me to kind of get through things in ways I haven't quite before, because there have been times where I've struggled unknowingly. I've been through things where I haven't quite understood what it is I'm going through. Finally, having that kind of relief or understanding has been very helpful for me to get on with my day from time to time.
A good school excels academically, but a great school focuses on the whole child and recognises that link between academic success and students' physical and mental well-being. The school is a large urban school, very multicultural, approximately 500 students in Darwin City. It's very important that schools support the healthy lives of its students, and our programs really develop our students so that they are happy, healthy, positive, active and confident learners.
It's not just about their academic success, it's about how they feel. And when they're feeling happy and engaged, they're more inclined to achieve what's expected of them.
We support healthy lives in a number of ways. We have a cooking and gardening program. We have a strong focus on physical education. We also have a program called Friends at Break, and that really promotes social skills and friendships between students. We use an app called Yoo-Hoo, and the students are able to log on and monitor their moods and emotions. Teachers can see that data as well and know how to support students. It became very clear that students were expressing some anxiety about the future and about what do I want to do when I grow up. They were getting a bit nervous about secondary education subject selection. Quest was a direct response to student voice and what our data was telling us. Students work with industry professionals, learn about future careers. It sort of bridged the gap, I guess, between what kids think about in their heads about the future and about careers to what careers really involve. One of our Quest projects is street art. We've had projects on the pearling industry. How does a pearl get from shell to shop? We've had students work with architects and designing their dream home, working with police on forensics and what they look at in a crime scene.
Students really enjoy being out of the normal four walls of a classroom. Quest gives them an opportunity to do something that's of interest to them. Student engagement is really, really high, and the students react so positively.
It has given me lots of insight into my future and the person I want to be when I grow up.
I'm not worried about my future. I am excited for new things to come.
We have a strong link with our secondary schools. in Darwin. And it's nice hearing that feedback saying, you know, it really has made a difference for your students who are really engaged in their learning, and they are the type of learners that we need now and in the future.
So Shanti, I mean, I know that there is scope for bias here. I mean, you know, you're Australian. There's an Australian school there, but tell us from that school what it is that we should all learn, you know, for.
I'm going to say that I'm totally blown away by Larrakea's strategy. Their commitment to bringing together community, industry partners to have a holistic wellbeing focus, preparing primary children to grow in their confidence and their skill sets to be successful global citizens and leaders is incredible. You know, the Quest program that they've designed, where the children have learned about street art, the pearling industry, how they've actually worked with architects to design their dream home, work with the police on forensics, the range of experiences and skill sets that the children have been exposed to really does honour teaching children how to reach their full potential. And you know, the student engagement, the fact that it's given them insights into the future. They've lost the anxiety about moving into secondary school, but those children are prepared for life. And it's an absolutely wonderful model. Really proud to see an Australian school.
I know that Australia is not a small place. I get that. But had you heard of this school?
I hadn't heard of it before. I mean, Sydney's, I'll try and do it from the right side. That way, Darwin's up there.
I understand that.
Very, very big.
But the education community normally kind of binds together and you find great stories. And so how do you think this school can actually spread its practice and the information that they've shared, at least in your country?
Well, I definitely think that the new T4 app will really help, because what often happens is that communities of schools are usually local based. So we might have that network of schools that where we might have similar enrollment areas. Then you might go across the state and your education system. I love the fact that your app will now give an opportunity for all states and territories in Australia to connect, to share practice, and to learn from each other. And there's definitely a lot that we can learn from Larraquea Primary School in Darwin. It's an inspirational model, and it's one that's going to really build global capabilities for all of the students.
And so tell us about the other two schools. I mean, let's go to the Curie School in Chicago. I know that Melinda is here, and I think her colleagues may be here. What do you have to say to them?
To me, it's very obvious why this is in the top three. They've been able to heal trauma, shift paradigms, to nurture and grow the affective domains and the creative domains, to help the students turn around the impact of poverty, high crime, and historical challenges that come from that local community. The fact that they've used the arts, the music, dance, visual arts programs to nurture the whole child has helped the community move away from fear, from going down the challenges of, gangs, drugs, substance abuse, to actually make the choice to lead successful lives. To be able to see those young people be positive about self-reflection, to move on, to heal, and to make better choices just shows the power of the arts. And, you can see how it's healing that community. It's wonderful to see how the students are now able to deal with stress and anxiety and to express the emotion of that sort of historical intergenerational trauma that they've experienced.
And what do you take from the London Academy of Excellence, which is the third school?
That was an excellent project that they've got. What we see here is the importance of having a guiding coalition of student-led wellbeing programs that has student agency. And that has built expertise not only in their own school, but in the community of schools that they've shared in their network. it's absolutely impressive. The fact that they're recognising that students are more than their academic grades, and that they're preparing them to not only shape their own future, but the future of society. I love the fact that as the wellbeing data has reduced anxiety and depression, that at the same time, conversely, the academic performance of the students has actually increased across the school. Things that you can celebrate around this that we could learn from is the importance of having student wellbeing ambassadors, having a mental health network, and making sure that we actually have those 3 phases of using the research, consulting with the community, and then implementing it with really clear milestones so that it has that accountability for the students.
So I asked you again the same question, which was, what are the 3 practices from each school that you will implement in your school?
When you look at those practices, they've all got something in common. And reflecting of what I could put into my school, where they have a strong moral purpose that brings students and communities together, you can have influence and you can have impact. Where you bring that power of the shared vision and the aligned action so that you have these guiding coalitions for change, that's definitely something that I'd like to see more of at my school. I mean, we've gone through 3 years of COVID crisis management. We know how, the trauma has impacted on our communities, on the young children. We've got children coming to school in kindergarten who aren't even toilet trained properly. There's other things that are important is that holistic integrated model where we're bringing solution-focused mindsets, the affective domain, the creative domains, the mental health is so, so important. But lastly, learning from evidence-based practice, learning from other schools, making sure that we don't do these things in isolation, that we keep talking, connecting, and collaborating.
And so, again, I'll ask you the question, who do you think will win? Who is your winner?
Very hard.
You live so far away, you don't have to worry about retribution.
Wouldn't it be great to see Australia at the same time?
That's the right answer.
But at the same time, look at what the London Academy of Excellence has done, where they've got more students in that disadvantaged area going to Oxford and Cambridge than the other schools, the private schools. Now that's extraordinary. And then you think about healing the Koori Metropolitan High School, healing a traumatized community where their mindset is positive. They can see potential for the future. And not only can they see it, they're going to achieve it. These 3 schools are amazing. But, hats off to Larrakia as well.
Give me one. Which one should win, in your opinion?
Can we have one primary, one secondary?
No. Just give me one school. Who would you put your vote on?
It's so close. From a primary perspective, Larrakia is breaking boundaries.
No. I said you have one choice. Give us your vote.
I can't. I really can't.
I'll tell you what. For you, I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to do a drum roll, which I've been practicing. And at the end of the drum roll, you come out with your name. Yeah, you ready?
Okay.
And Shanti's vote goes to.
Aussie, oi.
Well, Shanti, thank you so much. We really appreciate you staying up. I know. What time is it there at the moment in Australia?
2:11 a.m. in the morning.
You're a superstar for being here with us today. I really appreciate it. If you on Monday when you go to your school, how many staff do you have?
40.
40. So we're expecting 40 sign-ups for T4 communities. And what is the one thing you'll tell your teachers about joining T4 communities? What is the incentive?
Oh, just the power of innovation and transformation. To learn from dynamic educators who are shifting paradigms, creating new models of education, uplifting with a strong moral purpose, bringing student voice, student agency, engagement, healing communities. We all have these challenges and we can learn from each other, and we don't have to do it in isolation. Having the app will connect us, and not only will it actually enable us to share best practice, it will connect us in a way where we can even support each other's well-being through the journey.
Well, Shanti, thank you so much. And I should say that there's a welcome party on the 29th of October that you and your colleagues are most graciously and cordially invited to, and to become founder members of T4 Communities. I know that I love what you do. I love the leader that you are, and we'd love to see you on there actually start engaging, because we have a lot to learn from you. I know you've done your PhD in DA, and we want to hear from you.
Thank you. I'm signing up. I'm signing up. Don't you worry about that.
Before you get to bed tonight, please do that. And Shanti, thank you so much. We're now going to actually, as a minute break, go to our excellent promo film of the app. Thank you so much, Shanti. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Vikas.
Bye-bye. I should also add that this Wednesday we see the ceremony for the World's Best School Prizes are at 9 a.m. GMT, and I hope you're all registered for it and attend, because it is the first time we're giving out these 5 prizes with a total cash sum of $250,000 that will go to these 5 schools for their improvement. And we've gone through a heck of a process, and I'm really excited, and I hope you'll be able to join us. Now, without further ado, someone who is very familiar with prizes, and she has won the most spectacular Global Teacher Prize, please welcome my friend and mentor, I should say, Maggie MacDonnell. Maggie, welcome.
Hello, Vikas. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you guys today.
I see that technology isn't your strong suit.
Definitely not. Sorry.
You should try and stay on the camera. Try and stay in front of the camera. It would help.
I'm hiding away from my kids in the back room here, so I'm not at my usual setup. So hopefully I'm centered enough for the rest of the conversation.
Well, if you could move the camera a little bit more, that would be useful. No, the other way. That's it. So Maggie,
there we go.
Maggie. So tell me, Maggie, you've been so involved with us since day dot, since we started. In fact, you could be a founder of T4 yourself. That's how much effort you put into this. When you see all the development, whether it's the prizes, the app, what is it that encourages you? What is it that motivates you?
I think it's just this sense of energy and the stories that come out, they're so real and authentic, and these videos always, I'm just so attracted to them. Whenever I hear they're being dropped, I just want to grab my popcorn and set aside, a whole evening and just watch them, because I just find it allows us to dive in from the comfort of our own homes or situations, but into 10, 12, 20 different places around the world that are facing some version of a challenge we're also facing in our school, and watching them develop a solution and run with that. And I don't know, it just hits my heart. I'm an empath, and those feelings and emotions just come through. And I just feel like I always connect with that story, and it just triggers like ideas and inspiration. It's not always like a copy and paste thing where I see something happening in Brazil and just want to copy and paste it in my context, but it just gives me inspiration, you know, and from that, just ideas spark. And then knowing, you know, the T4 community as it is through LinkedIn, through Facebook, etc., through these events that you do, and now the app, the fact that I'm able to literally go and like touch these people, you know, digitally, like go and find them and connect with them. I mean, that's incredible. That's just so incredible. So yeah, that's what drives me or gets me excited.
Well, you definitely are a founding member of T4 Communities, our app, because I saw you joined yesterday. Thank you so much. Maggie, you know, without further ado, I do want to talk a little bit about the schools that we have in the community collaboration category. And if you allow me to show their videos, that would be quite useful. So let's watch these together.
A gente pensa que não existem boas ideias e más ideias. As ideias vêm da necessidade e do sentimento que aquelas crianças estão sentindo. A gente percebeu que aqui na escola existia uma defasagem de aprendizagem bastante grande, né? As crianças estavam desanimadas, talvez, os professores também, porque existe essa cultura da escola pública, da ideia de que uma escola pública ela não vai ter tanta qualidade assim. Então, como a gente poderia conseguir transformar essa situação de uma maneira que os alunos realmente se sentissem participantes disso? A participação democrática, ela impacta a comunidade toda, porque é olhar para essa escola e perceber que ela pertence aos pais, aos alunos, aos professores e que todas essas pessoas são as pessoas importantes nesse processo.
A turma vai dando demandas e a gente vai fazendo essa votação para ver quem apoia, quem é contra, escreve no caderno e manda para a direção.
Não existe autoritarismo aqui dentro, o coletivo é que decide as coisas. Isso é uma das coisas importantes, porque a gente não está criando robôs e sim cidadãos, né?
No ponto de vista de um professor, isso é muito bom, porque a gente vê que os alunos se sentem mais apegados à escola. Isso faz com que a gente possa se conectar melhor com eles, cria um ambiente melhor na escola como um todo. Então, aprovado, André. Pode botar aí.
O projeto de matemática nasceu da necessidade dos alunos do 6º ano. Então, eles nos disseram, através da assembleia, que eles precisavam aprender matemática melhor quando eram pequenos. E aí nós reunimos os professores de matemática e fomos estudar essa ideia de uma matemática diferente.
Daí o resultado do problema é 31.
O projeto Fora da Caixa surgiu da demanda dos professores, que os alunos brigavam demais, que eles não tinham empatia entre um e outro. É a ideia de que a gente mistura os alunos de idades diferentes e eles vão aprender a lidar uns com os outros, aprendendo juntos.
Eu me sinto valorizada porque desde criança eu estudo aqui e desde criança eu tenho voz e eles escutam a nossa voz.
Aos poucos nós fomos construindo uma escola muito mais inclusiva, em que os alunos têm resultados muito melhores.
Eu acredito que nós estamos formando uma geração diferente aqui na escola. Vai sair pessoas criativas, pessoas pensantes, grandes líderes aqui, que sabe sim da sua opinião, mas sabe também respeitar a opinião do outro, que é contrária à sua.
Collaboration with parents is something we very deeply believe in. That's the philosophy that the school follows. We believe in parents as partners. They are very important stakeholders. Our school is located on the outskirts of Pune city. The parents in the community are mainly daily wage earners. Many of them are auto drivers, workers at the construction site, housekeeping department. The basic necessities in the community are scarce, like water, electricity. The house is quite cramped, and because of this, the noise levels impact the learning of children. So our school is run in a public-private partnership model. The local government provides the infrastructure, and the staff and the teachers are trained and funded by Akanksha Foundation. This makes English medium education affordable to the local community. In COVID, we wanted to support the families with basic necessities, but the COVID protocols restricted us from actually going out in the community. We informed the grocers, and the grocers used to supply the grocery packets to these parents. The doctor in the community actually come to the school and take sessions with parents related to health, nutrition, hygiene. Also, they come for medical checkups of our students and for the parents also. The children from low-income communities excel faster if there is more parental engagement.
Good morning, parents.
And if we have to work with parents, we need to understand the background, what is the home environment. To understand all these things, we plan our home visits. If financial literacy sessions were taken in the parent meetings, then are the parents using some of these apps or schemes introduced by the government for their own financial literacy and economic resilience? If it was nutrition, then are they following the diet plan?
मुलांसोबत कसं वागायचं, कसं बोलायचं, डाएट वगैरे आहे ते कसं आम्हाला माहित नाही त्यांना काय द्यायचे, पैसे कसे जमा करायचे, सेव कसे करायचे.
स्कूल बच्चों को सिखाते सिखाते हम लोग भी सब लोग सीख रहे, आसपास के लोग भी सीख रहे हैं काफ़ी. भी जो लड़कियां हैं, मतलब ज़्यादातर लड़कियां जो पढ़ लिख के इंग्लिश मीडियम से स्कूल से जो भी पढ़ी लिखी थी वो अच्छे पोस्ट पर रहे.
Education is important for us to achieve something. When I grow up, I want to do marketing.
We really aspire for all of our students to come out of poverty. Some of our alumni have gone on to secure admissions on 100% scholarships to some of the top colleges across the world. That's the kind of values and intent and excellence we want to see in every single one of our students.
Young people learn the best when they're doing something that they feel that is meaningful, not just textbook stuff. Community collaboration helps young people achieve their potential by allowing them to take part in activities that actually are real learning experiences.
You're good, you will. Due to our rural location, for a long time now, Doon Grammar has suffered from the brain drain, where the young people have had no real option but to pack up and leave the town to continue with their education or to find employment. And as a school, we very much want to address that.
Our vision statement here at Doon Grammar School is about being at the heart of the community, where we strive together with everyone to achieve excellence. We've set up so many partnerships to help develop our curriculum. During COVID, it was a difficult time for everybody. Our young people streamed bingo into a number of care homes.
64.
The elderly residents were delighted. It just showed that our young people care about our community.
Who's got a house?
Bin Waste Battles is an app that allows you to compete against neighbours to see who can reduce food waste the most. You take photos of your plate each day and it calculates how much you've wasted and compares it with other people.
The idea of the Doon project is that there will be a gondola going up to the top of the Kilbride Hill. We're also going to have an alpine roller coaster. The board of directors, they approached the school to ask, would the young people be interested in supporting this? And we've set up a junior advisory board. So they're really at the centre of all of this.
The Student Advisory Board has been working very closely with the senior members of the project, just informed them how we wanted to bring life back into our town and make a difference.
It's been great to get them involved. I think they are really, to me, a big part of what the project is all about.
The Dunoon project is going to give our young people the opportunity to stay in Dunoon for employment. There'll be finance jobs, there'll be engineering jobs, and the young people are helping drive what these opportunities could be like.
It feels great to collaborate within the community. It feels like I'm making a change. It feels like I'm actually stepping up and doing something.
I definitely love community-based learning. There's real people that will benefit from the results of your project, and you want to do it then and not flip a page on a textbook.
I'm hugely proud to be part of this town, this school, and to be working on this project.
We are so passionate about our young people being at the part of the community because they are not just the future, they're the here and now. They are able and willing, my goodness, they are willing to make a difference in their communities. It's a win-win situation. Our community reaps the reward, our young people reap the reward, and it's something that we want to continue to grow in the years to come.
And so, Maggie, what we have over here were 3 incredible examples of schools that do community collaboration. And you, for example, you won a prize for being a teacher in the Canadian Arctic, and it was all about the community. And what do you take from each one of these 3 schools? Can you just go through one by one?
Sure. I mean, great schools transform communities, and also through that relationship, it even allows the community to transform the school. And there's so many lessons that are coming. Like when I jump to Brazil, the fact that they have this structure, this sort of democratic model embedded within their system, within their school, that's giving youth voice, students voice, that's giving teachers voice, that are allowing them to own that process of what is their education, is just so powerful. I mean, they started off talking about low morale. And then, I mean, if you put on a colonial lens and just think about how often schools are, dropped in through a colonial lens and into all sorts of different places. And of course, they might not match the community's needs, but here through that Brazil model where they're seeing kids get democratic voice. I mean, that's epic. That is so profound. When I jump to India and I think about...
But before you go there, so on the Brazilian school, let's also not forget that they're going through elections at the moment. And there's a runoff on the 30th of October for the presidential candidate. And so democracy is, Brazil has democracy. It's a democratic country. And so schools like this, I think, perform such an incredible role in involving people to become critical thinkers, to become participants, and to really care about their environment, which I really applaud, actually.
Totally.
But Maggie, go to the second school, the Indian school.
I mean, when we're in India through that story, I just feel like they're really tackling intergenerational issues, which affect our education system. I mean, they have such deep relationships with the parents coming from the Canadian Arctic, working with Indigenous communities. I know that relationship building can be really, really tough. In that video of 3 minutes, maybe it just comes across like those relationships just were there, already bloomed. But I bet there's so much work that went into building them. And you see how they're like literally transforming the family life, from nutrition, financial planning, savings, like literacy, probably socioeconomic health of the family unit itself, bringing in doctors, making the school a hub for so much. That's really profound. I when I see that school, I just really think of that school being a hub and how impactful that can be. And that blows me away. When I jump to Scotland, I just love what they're doing there. I feel like they have tentacles, that are just embedded in that community. And I imagine that their staff or their leadership, feel that they themselves are community members, you know? And I feel like they have a relationship where they're not just supporting the community, but I bet at many times through this tentacles of relationships that they have, that the community also informs them, you know, comes to them with ideas, with you know, vocational training opportunities, with this Danoon project, etc. And what you have there, you know, in a place where it's rural, where you have brain drain, where you have all of these issues, is you literally are using the school as a means for young people to feel like they're building their own home, that they're building their own future. You know, I mean, that's so salient. That's like a lived experience that's so powerful. These like 14, 15, 16-year-olds are out there with like construction hats, planning like tourism, infrastructure, all of that is they're a part of right now. And in like 17 years, that 14-year-old is mayor in that community, you know, like that is, and they're working within that structure and they help shape it. Like, to me, that stuff is just 100% platform worthy.
And so, Maggie, when you see these three schools, who's in it for the win?
Oh, do I get the drum roll like the other the last? I want the drum roll. I came for the drum roll.
You demand the drum roll. Some people are so demanding. I tell you.
Do you want me to give an answer to, or just like pretend?
I do want you to give an answer, but let's do this. Maggie's winner for the best school in the world's best school for community collaboration is
okay. First off, we're all winners because we benefit from those stories. Okay, and then if I had to give the check, I'm going right to Scotland. I'm just putting it out there. I loved what they were doing. I just felt it was a true two-way relationship where the community was also seen as powerful, you know, and was informing what they were doing within the school. And they truly broke down, you know, this idea that a classroom has four walls, you know, the intergenerational effect too, when you see the young people connecting with the elders in the community, outside learning, all of those things. Yeah. I'll be your one guest. I think that's going to give somebody
that's golden, as you say, right?
Say that again.
You say that's golden.
It's golden. Absolutely golden.
Well, Maggie, one final plug for our new app.
Well, I'm already on there and I can't wait to see everybody else on there. So please send me a message. Let's connect. It's so inspiring. I can't wait to go make friends with, you know, Scotland, India, Brazil, South Africa, Uganda, and everybody in this T4 community, because it's phenomenal. And how can I say, me connecting to you, Vikas, through this whole community, it just lights me up and it gives me, I don't know how to say, but further inspiration and drive for all the work I do in the schools I'm connected with. So thank you guys so much for what you're doing, and sign up for that T4 app. Download it. Let's go.
Did you just say that I inspire you? Is that what you just said, Maggie?
Like, can we put that like quote, like Vikas inspires me? Like, can I say that again? Vikas inspires me.
You said it to my wife. Well, Maggie, thank you so much. And I know that our next guest, Jean-Claude Brizard, is also here, and I'm really delighted to have him. But before I bring you on, Jean-Claude, I want to once again show our big reveal for today, which is our new community app for teachers around the world. If you're a teacher, join T4 Communities. You can go to the iOS store, you can go to Android, you can go to our website, and you can become a member of so many professional learning communities that exist. We know that professional learning communities are the holy grail for moving everything forward. And so that's why we are placing an emphasis in building the world's largest community of teachers and schools. But rather than me say it, watch this most amazing and inspiring and highly dynamic video. Well, we have launched this T4 Communities app today, and you can join as a founder member and be known as a founder member if you sign up before the 29th of October, where we have a welcome party for everyone, and which Maggie is going to raffle a Zoom call with herself directly with you for all the thousands of teachers that are going to join. So Maggie, thank you so much for that. But if you join, you get exclusive benefits and offers for founder members. But our goal here is to build this community because we have much to learn from each other. And one of the silver linings from the pandemic was that hyper-localism that exists today in education, I think has truly been rid of because we look for solutions from around the world where we don't expect them from. And that's what these professional learning communities have the power to do, to show us on a peer-to-peer basis what another teacher, what another school is doing in another part of the world that can be implemented in our schools, and how you can develop as a teacher and as a professional. And so without further ado, please go to T4 Communities. It's in the iOS store and on Android, or you can go to t4communities.education now and join. And now I'm really delighted that someone whose organization I have long admired and has a sterling reputation for promoting innovation in education, the president and CEO of Digital Promise, Jean-Claude Brizard, is here with us. Jean-Claude, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah, and so you're participating from the other coast of America, where it's early morning. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, I'm calling in from Silicon Valley, California, USA.
Great. The one thing we can then be assured of is great connectivity from you.
I hope so. I have a terabyte of internet. Let's hope it's all working.
Terabyte, my goodness, you are a privileged man. Jean-Claude, tell me in terms of tell me about the work of Digital Promise, actually.
We are an organization that was created out of the U.S. Congress about almost 11 years ago. We work at the intersection of education research, mostly learning science research. We have a huge practitioner base and hoping to, I just downloaded the app to make sure I'm part of the T4 communities as well now too. So a large practitioner network, and we do a lot of work in education technology as well.
Fantastic. And so Jean-Claude, when you see, when someone, I'm sure you must receive more presentations than I do about the future of education. What is your answer to that?
It's interesting. I have a dual answer to that question. One is that we have so much in terms of inequities in outcome in education around the world. So that has to be part of the future, making sure that we are addressing once and for all, the solutions that we can get to every part of the world, global north, global south, etc. The other, frankly, is understanding the role of technology in learning science, in really leapfrogging the kinds of inequities that we see. For example, seeing the promise in AI, seeing the promise in learning management systems. All these things can really propel what we know about the individual student and really cater or tailor, perhaps, an experience that is unique to the jagged learner profile of a student.
Well, fantastic. And I receive, one second, sorry, my apologies. This happens every time when I press this button. I apologize for that. Jean-Claude, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is the inequity that has come from the pandemic as an example. And my thing about the future of education, and I'm really fed up actually of actually the technology companies or the edtech businesses that tell me that the future of education is X or Y or Z. To me, the future of education is actually having strong schools. And that's what the purpose of these prizes are, right? And so we want to promote a more healthier ecosystem that focuses on the overall upliftment or school-wide, by using some of these strategies. And so I've asked you along today, and you very kindly accepted, to comment upon the 3 schools in the innovation category. And before I ask you to comment on them, maybe you allow us to watch the videos, because I think they're quite stunning actually when I look at them. And what I do know is that they have really provoked a reaction in terms of when people watch them about not just technology and innovation, but the innovation of models of education as well. And so let's watch these first, and then I'll come to you shortly.
Que la tecnología por sí sola no sirve, sino que la tecnología debe abrir las posibilidades en el desarrollo de habilidades y competencias personales y emocionales. Estamos situados, esta escuela Emilia Láscara, en el centro de Peñaflor. Esta escuela alberga a 1000 alumnos con una situación económica de baja.
Me da la impresión de que inicialmente para los niños y niñas el estudiar a distancia fue muy novedoso. Entonces, primero fue eso, primero fue la novedad para los estudiantes. Posteriormente siento que hubo una disminución en la motivación. Ahí es donde nosotros tuvimos que buscar una solución, no solo a lo pedagógico, sino que también a lo socioemocional. Ahí es donde nace este proyecto, esta innovación que es Emilia TV. Entonces, Emilia TV en primera instancia es eso, es un espacio, un momento de comunicación y de apoyo a las familias para poder enfrentar el proceso de pandemia. Cuando avanza el tiempo de cuarentena, Emilia TV se transforma en un espacio de participación para la comunidad de la escuela, donde ellos podían expresarse, donde ellos podían mostrar sus intereses, sus motivaciones, como por ejemplo la cocina o sus talentos deportivos, por ejemplo. Empezó a tomar un rol en el plan de educación a distancia de la escuela.
Y que partió con adultos, pero hoy día ya los niños están replicando lo que los adultos hacían. Tuvieron ese ejemplo, lo vieron, se motivaron.
Las transmisiones en vivo estuvieron ligadas a momentos especiales del mes, de cada mes. En mayo es el Día del Estudiante, por lo tanto hicimos una transmisión ligada al Día del Estudiante.
Nosotros no lo vimos como solución cuando se partió. Fue algo que se instaló para comunicarse. Lentamente empezó a solucionar temas de asistencia, lentamente problemas de aprendizaje, lentamente empezó a solucionar temas de niños con depresión.
Creo que la innovación es importante ya que obviamente está educando nuevas generaciones que necesitan cosas nuevas y que les interese para poder así aprender mejor.
La Municipalidad de Peñaflor hizo la invitación a que las otras escuelas de la comuna, escuelas municipales, realizaran algo similar a la Emilia TV, realizaran espacios de comunicación con sus familias, con sus comunidades. Yo siento que hoy tal vez los impactos no deben medirse por lo grandes que son, sino que por lo significativos. En este caso, usar la tecnología, las redes sociales, para fortalecer y unir a una comunidad es un impacto positivo y para mí es muy significativo.
まあ、今のこのネット社会と呼ばれる現代に、即した新しい教育というものを実践させていただいております。そもそも我々 N 高等学校は多くの授業であったりカリキュラムというものをオンラインで実施をしております。登校日数ですよね、そのようなものを組むことができまして、自分のペースでオンラインにて授業に取り組むことができるということなので、
今基本的に通学は週3日、こちらのキャンパスに来ていて、残りの平日の2日間は家で、勉強をしたりだとか。
普通の日本の教育だとどうしても先生生徒のような形の立場になっていくものを、我々は所属コースとかにかかわらず全ての生徒に、複数のメンターがついておりまして、 ますが、こちらを生徒は選んでいただくことと、自分がやりたいことっていうのに優先して取り組み、そちらに学校側を合わせに行くっていう風なことができるの。
そうですね、新しい技術たくさん、使われていて、有名なところだと VR であったりとか。
はい、視覚、それから聴覚ですね。こちらが360度 VR 空間の教室と音声も同時に切り替わるため、
たまにこれちょっと文で見た時に分かんないなと思った時とか、じゃあ VR 使って実際にどんな感じか見てみようっていう感じでたまにやる感じですね。自分が触りながら学習できるのは結構身近に感じやすくて身につきやすいかなと思いますね。
I like in high school because the teachers will support what you really want to do. Whether you have an interest that's not like the traditional subjects, you can still learn as much as you want, as deep as you want.
勉強というか、スキルを実践で使えるスキルを身につけるみたいな感じなところで、こういうところはすごいこれから先の将来を見据えている、学校だなと思って素晴らしいなと思います。
IT× グローバル社会を生き抜く総合力を身につける、典型的な日本の学校とは違うところかなというふうには思います。
It is important for all educators to have an innovation in teaching because our students nowadays, they love to learn something not only by using chalk and talk.
Sekolah Padang ini merupakan sekolah di luar bandar dan murid-muridnya merupakan murid yang kebanyakan B40.
The main problem is that we don't have specific tools to key in our students' performance for formative assessments. So we sit together and we put on our thinking caps to solve this problem. Red is the indicator for students who are with the low achievement. The green one is for the students who are very excellent. Those who are in red, they usually volunteer to see their friends who are in green to seek help. And those who are green, they are always ready to help their friends. The teachers can easily look at the graphs and look at the students' performance based on the traffic lights that we use.
Hasil daripada penggunaan Smart Zoom, keputusan setiap subjek bertambah baik. Sebagai contoh, beberapa orang murid dikenal pasti tidak dapat menguasai asas literasi bahasa. Jadi, di atas tindakan selanjutnya, pihak guru mengadakan satu program dipanggil program literasi atau program pemulihan khas.
Very good, everybody. The impact is that for the students themselves, they are so happy to see their progress. So it's easier for them to identify which categories they are. It motivates everyone in the classroom.
Smart Zoom have color and it's paperless, which makes it more interesting.
After teaching the students, teacher will assess marks into the Smart Zoom. I'm excited. I can see my marks is very easy.
Nilai-nilai inovasi ini sangat penting dalam dunia pendidikan. Apabila berlaku sesuatu keadaan, situasi yang kita tidak jangka, maka perlu ada satu penyelesaian. Jadi Smart Zoom ini telah membantu cikgu-cikgu dalam menangani kekurangan ini dan memudahkan para guru dan para ibu bapa serta murid dapat meningkatkan pencapaian akademik para pelajar ataupun murid.
And so, Jean-Claude, when you see these three schools, firstly, as an overall thought, what goes through your mind?
You know, because first of all three schools are really inspiring, and I often say that the future is hybrid. And what I'm seeing in all three, frankly, is the way in which they're seeing technology as a tool to get to the basics of making sure that you're addressing the educational needs of young people. So in some cases, you see the learning management system, in other you see a focus on the whole child. In other, frankly, in the end school was really sort of amazing for me because it not only is innovative around students, but it's a potential here to really redefine the role of a teacher, which I think is really powerful. So all in all, you can see how, well, some have leveraged the COVID pandemic. Others, frankly, are just really looking to create a hybrid structure and bring community into the school.
Thank you for that. And like, you know, we actually have the principal, one of the teachers from the Chilean school, Antonio, here saying, you should be so proud, Antonio. Well done. And Jean-Claude, a word of encouragement for him?
Well, absolutely. You know, what I really love about the Chilean school is, you know, the focus on not just the academic, I think that was early in the video, but also the focus on the social emotional learning. And you can see, frankly, the idea of getting to the homes, getting to the community, and addressing the whole child, which is now the part of the big parlance in education. But in the Chilean school, you see this easy to come to life. What I also love too in the Chilean school is the opportunity here to inform the work of other schools in the country. So it's not just one isolated innovation, but a way of pushing that across the country as well. So yes, congratulations.
And so here's a great comment from Salman, who said, I've only ever used VR to shoot zombies. Amazing to see there's such powerful applications in education, such as school pioneering its use. Tell us a little bit about the Japanese school.
You know, what's great about the end school, let me just get back to the VR comment in a second. One thing you should look at is My World 360, where we're using VR technology with the UN and others, frankly, with Siena, to showcase the lives of young people around the world. So VR is a powerful technology. I've seen it used, for example, in career technical education. But let me come back to the end school. First of all, it's a large number of students. But they try really hard to get personal. Often we talk about personalization, but the question is, what are we personalizing and why? But the end school showcases that this idea of giving student agency to decide and with perhaps a mentor and design an educational experience that fits them. So it is the hybrid world we're talking about here, where you can go to school 3 days a week and work from home 3 days a week. You think about what is happening in industry, what is happening with adults in industry, and teachers are begging for the same kind of flexibility. The end school demonstrates what's possible with the future of teaching as well. What I love is the fact that it's not just an online tech focus experience, it's also a personal experience with the multiple mentors, with the mentors. So you see the in-person, you see the technology, you see leveraging high-tech technology as well. But what I really love about the end school, again, is the idea of really getting personal with students designing their experience in high school.
Fantastic. And Jean-Claude, I mean, you've been in education for quite some time. Firstly, you know, of course, we know about the work of Digital Promise, but you've also worked with Gates Foundation. And tell us in terms of the use of prize mechanisms to actually surface, in this case, best practices and the systemic impact that can come from them.
You know, there's so much in terms of innovation happening around the world. My colleague at the Brookings Institution, Rebecca Winthrop, often talks about, you know, the schools who are leapfrogging inequality. And I love her. I love her work. I know you know her well as well. You know, but the idea of what the prize does is sort of surface these things, right? Allow people who perhaps would never be known outside of their community to really be showcased around the world about these great practices. What's also possible here too is that people can see these great exemplars perhaps codify what is unique about these and spread and scale them around the world. To your point earlier, Vikas, it's that community of practitioners who are coming together, breaking bread, studying together, looking at each other's practices, and then taking it back and adapting it to their particular community and environment. That is, I think, is what is powerful about prizes.
And how do we, one of the things that I have been asked is, yes, you have a prize, you have a lot of celebration, you do surface these best practices, but so what?
So I mean, for me, this kind of work is like a relay race, right? So we pass the baton. I think the job of T4 is to highlight these amazing practices, but perhaps the Ministry of Education can say, okay, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to codify these practices. We're going to go visit Chile. We're going to visit Tokyo. We're going to go to Malaysia and see what is happening, and then perhaps begin to codify. For example, we have a team of educators going to Melbourne, and actually I have a team leaving today, going to Estonia as another country, where we have US educators, global educators studying together. But the goal there is to pull away what they think is salient from these exemplars and taking it back home and begin to replicate in context, right? So it has to be a relay race where ministries are working with schools, working with others in elevating and in spreading these kinds of best practices.
And so you've seen the launch of our app, our community professional learning communities through T4 Communities. And what do you think about the applicability of those peer-to-peer approaches?
So let me just add one layer to your question, maybe an answer too. I tell people I became a much better teacher when I became a principal, because I got to see a lot of teachers teach. As a teacher, I never had the opportunity to see and be part of a community. I became a much better principal when I became a school superintendent, because I got to see a lot of principals lead schools. So what T4 and what this app is doing is providing that kind of experience to practitioners where they may not be able to, or even have the resources to go and visit and go to places and actually see. They may not be able to get to Melbourne or get to Chile. But when you have that kind of environment, it allows for people to exchange information. I mean, for example, I was looking at the teacher from Canada. I wrote myself a note. I got to find her, reach out to her, because these are the people we need to highlight and bring into our communities. But what this app does, it makes that visible very quickly, very easily for a lot of educators around the world.
Well, Jean-Claude, thank you so much for your very kind words. Your commentary on these three schools, I think, is absolutely spot on. And as I was saying at the beginning of this segment, is that if there was one category that really exercised us more than any of the others, is the innovation category, because it really actually talked about the different ways of approaching the leapfrogging that Rebecca actually speaks about. And coincidentally, our criteria for this category has been set by her also. And so it is firmly in line with her philosophy that she espouses and the research that she has done. And so I thank her specifically for the role that she has contributed in the World's Best School Prize for Innovation. But you're absolutely spot on in talking about how it has been very provoking. And that's sometimes what the effectiveness of these kinds of initiatives is, in terms of to tell the story and to paint a picture for other people. Jean-Claude, any final words from you before we call it a day today?
The idea of putting educators at the center, the communities at the center, I think is critical. Innovation has to be put in play to help us accelerate the kinds of outcomes for young people. At the same time, the outcome is not just focusing on math and reading proficiency, but this idea of a greater definition of success, which is lifelong success. But so when you look at the ways in which we're progressing and what the pandemic did for education, innovation is the answer, frankly, to helping us leapfrog, to get ahead and bring our kids back to getting access to the world economy.
Absolutely. And the thing that I want to just add to what you said is innovation does not necessarily mean technology. And so it's a really important thing that we learn through the process about defining the category, as well as looking at all the applications, saying that, schools that had great whiteboards or pieces of kit and devices, that wasn't what we were looking for in these prizes. We were looking at school-wide approaches of actually, making that leapfrog. And in Japan, for example, that school is an outlier. Japan has a very orthodox education system. And so what this school is doing is that leapfrog. In Chile, this school is the leapfrog. And so like that, I think what we have, and in Malaysia also, this school is the leapfrog, taking that leapfrog, which I find quite fascinating. On that note, Jean-Claude, thank you so much. Please know that all of us at T4 are highly appreciative of everything that Digital Promise does. I know we follow your work a lot, and we look forward to our further collaboration. And I believe, and not to unveil too much, but at the Teacher Tech Summit, we know that the Digital Promise and the T4 collaboration will come to fruition there as well. Please know that you have our gratitude, and thank you for joining on this Saturday.
Thank you, Vikas. I'm grateful as well. Thank you.
Take care, Jean-Claude. Well, friends, we've come to that point in the day where we can call it a very successful event, a plenary for World Education Week. There are 50 free events for you to attend over the next week. You can register to attend at worldeduweek.org. These are great opportunities for us to actually go along and ask questions to these 50 schools that have been shortlisted in the World's Best School Prizes. And it's a great way of understanding and interacting. Now, of course, schools are back and you may not be able to attend all the events. They will also be online, but we'd like you to register and like you to participate in these for as many of you that can, I think will be great. Like I said, just today, I know that there have been some of the schools that have joined who are not in the top 3, but this is about all the 50 schools. So I see my friend Agaleki from Greece over here as an example. What she does with regards to the innovation she brings in actually dealing and succeeding with dyslexic children, I think is just phenomenal. Like that, I can tell you stories about these 50 schools that we can all learn from on a school-wide basis. So friends, once again, thank you for joining us today. It goes without further ado that I will see you on Monday at the events starting quite early, and we look forward to learning with you about these schools. I want to thank my colleagues who have put in so much effort for this point of culmination, not just with the World's Best School Prizes, but also with our app. That I don't know did I mention we launched an app today, and so there's a professional learning communities app called T4 Communities that you're able to download for free and participate in. You heard all of us high-profile speakers talk about that professional learning communities, peer-to-peer approaches are the holy grail of professional development, and we are seeking to build the world's largest community of teachers interested in that, in learning from each other. So thank you once again, and please know that we're very grateful for all your support, and see you on Monday. With that, what I want to tell you is that the first event is at 8:15 a.m. GMT, right? It's the St. Edward's Primary School in Australia, and they're talking about how personal learning plans can help disadvantaged students. I want to make sure that we all start the World Education Week on that note, to learn from schools like St. Edward's that we can all benefit from in a significant fashion. Friends, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday morning. Goodbye.
Let's go. You lead the way. Where are we headed? Towards a net zero future, of course. Cleaner water, more electricity, a sustainable society. That's the destination we've set ourselves. This we know. Yes, we know exactly where we're going, but we need to get there quicker. So, let's build on the progress we've already made by working and walking together. With the right partners, tools and ideas, we'll become an unstoppable force. This we know. Right now, there are businesses who are putting technology and sustainability at the heart of everything they do. Brave leaders turning maybes into realities and building something better for everyone. Now is the time to look to the future and reinvent ourselves today, empowering others to do the same tomorrow. Yes, we know what the future holds, and we know how to get there. So, let's take charge of the journey today.
Welcome to our school board meeting.
Namaskar.
Hello. Hi.
Spiffio, access in any language.